Hello, welcome to the 7th day of March 2022. My name is Kurt, and this is The Good Life. It's a little thing I do every morning to recount and think about my objectives and principles and to see how I'm doing applying those. First, last night and yesterday. Last night was an eye-opener, literally. I don't even need to tell you anymore that, my insomnia in the wee hours, it's pretty much just a daily thing. Less severe in the weekend, but consistent during the week. My alarm goes off at 5 a.m., but I routinely wake up sometime between 3 and 5, usually about 4 o'clock, and then kind of toss and turn until the alarm goes off. I can measure the time by I can see Venus rising above the eastern horizon, and I know where it needs to get. A little measure. But last night was interesting. No different. Still woke up. But what an interesting way that I woke up, and for the most interesting reason, or at least, if not interesting, telling. I rarely ever remember my dreams, but I began with a dream. And I was suddenly remembering that I had forgotten to pay a debt. It was a loan, a bank loan. And I was like 2 months overdue, which is, very worrisome for me because I work really hard to maintain good credit. So the idea of missing a payment by a day it will upset my stomach. But the idea of missing it by 2 months, wow. So I was like in the dream, I was like, all anxious and concerned, and I fretted and I fussed about it in my dream for what seemed like, half an hour. In the dream, it seemed like it was that long. You know how you kind of just like, it's nebulous, right? You're never really, thinking about what it is, and just fuss and fuss and fuss and fuss. And then I kind of gradually emerged from the dream into being awake, lying in bed. And I looked out the window and I see Venus, and I could still remember the dream, which is rare, really rare for me to remember my dreams. I mean, I know I must dream, but I don't remember them because it was like so immediate. 2 months overdue on a debt, a Japanese debt, no less, a debt in Japan. And then I kind of looked at Venus, and I tilted my head in there and deeper into the pillow, and I thought, what the hell is going on? I don't have any debt in Japan. I've never had any debt in Japan other than the car loan that I had when I first moved over there that last time, which I just set that up in the auto. No, I didn't have a car loan. I paid for that car cash. It was just all the paperwork that was reminding me of the thinking of a loan. I never had any debt in Japan. And I didn't even take care of the money in Japan. Yumiko took care of all the money. Well, that's kind of the way we work. When we're in America, I take care of the money. When we're in Japan, she takes care of the money. And then I was finished, right? And that must have been easily around 4 o'clock, wide awake for the next hour until the alarm goes off. So so I sat there and I thought about it, and I'm trying to put the pieces together, and it's not coming out in a coherent manner this morning. And it really upset me, in a first world way. So I was left with thinking, well, why? Why did my mind invent something, the kind of thing that, it was almost like my mind was conspiring against me. It invented something for me to worry about, and it was something that my mind knew that would really sink deep It was a good stab, right? It was my credit rating. I mean, for some reason, I don't mean to be, I don't mean to sound flippant or uncaring in this. For some reason, my mind knew that that would bother me more than, for example, a diagnosis that I had an illness, maybe even a serious illness. Kind of the nihilist and the fatalist in me would have been, oh well, there we go, so I'm sick. I mean, not really. I've never really been tested with a serious illness. Who knows how I'd really hold up? But that's how my initial reaction would probably be. But to learn that I was overdue and 2 months overdue on a debt, that that bothers me. And a debt in Japan, no less, which means that I don't have immediate or clear recourse to solving that problem. So let me just cut to the chase. My mind clearly invented something for me to worry about. I had a really good week of work last week. I mean, I had a solid week. I got so much done, and my house is in order at work. There's, I mean, there's stuff that I have to do, but my house is in order, and it won't stay in order. Things get messy, but it's likely to be in pretty good order for the rest of the year at this point. Unless something major happens, I've got a good shot of a clear house, of a good year of work. 2022 should be a good year of work, not too stressful from this point forward. Although I have a way of making things stressful. And I think what happened was, here's what I think happened. Okay, the pandemic years were terrible for me work-wise because it sent my work, my projects. This happened to a lot of people. Your world was tilted upside down, and you had to scramble. I had to scramble. We had to scramble to find a way to make it happen, to change the paradigm, to change our world to match the new paradigm. And as a result, that's when this insomnia began, and I got in a habit of getting up, of my mind rousing itself to clutch at pearls from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning until the alarm goes off. And I did that solid. I mean, it was terrible for 2021 and most of 2022. And I think I built that into a habit now. And I think what happened this morning was, because I had such a solid day on Friday. I mean, I set a goal on Thursday night. I said, Kurt, Friday I have no meetings. If I really just, roll up my sleeves and knock out, and I laid it out on a piece of paper, and I was talking to my boss while I was doing it. I was talking to my boss on the Teams meeting, and I was saying, I'm going to tackle this, and this, and he's like, that's a lot. So I'm going to do it. And I said, because I got no meetings, and I did, and they all came out really good. So over the weekend, my mind kind of let up a little bit, but this morning, Monday morning, my 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, my mind kind of my deep inner mind kind of woke up and said, okay, what can we find to worry about today related to work, right? Well, okay, well, that's taken care of. Oh, that's no longer there. Oh, wow. Venus is on its way up. We got to find something. Debt in Japan. Let's make that up. And there you go. So I think what's happened is that I've broken myself into some nasty routine. I've built a nasty routine, and I need to get over this. I need to find a way to work my way through this, because it's already dug itself deep enough after 2 years. It's dug itself deep enough that it's now a routine. Now I can choose to live with that, or I can choose to fight it in some way. I don't know. How do you fight a subconscious that wants to worry? I'm going to look into it. Interesting stuff. Okay, let's do the good life meditation for today. I'm going to do another lightning round because this wore me out this morning. Seven objectives. To be always ready to die. To make good and effective use of my time. To develop and maintain good and sound life principles. To cultivate good emotional reactions. To perform good actions. To recognize true limits and true opportunity. And to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly. Oh, let me stop. I forgot to talk about yesterday. Yesterday was a good day, an interesting day. Yumiko and I had finished all of our chores on Saturday. We'd done all of our shopping on Saturday except the Japanese supermarket, which we can't do because there is no Japanese supermarket here. So on Sunday, yesterday, we got up early, and she slept in a little bit, so it was kind of set off a little schedule. She slept through her alarm, but it's fine. It's weekend. And then while she was doing that, I took the dogs for a nice long walk, and then we went to we drove to Irvine or to Orange County. On the way, we stopped at Corky's for breakfast. Really nice, very American breakfast place. Had a good breakfast. They're way understaffed and they were really rushing, but we had a good breakfast. And then we went to IKEA and we had a fun time shopping together at IKEA. We got some good stuff. Then I dropped her off at South Coast Plaza, and I went to Mitsuwa in Costa Mesa, and I met someone for lunch. And then after that, Yumiko and I went to Tokyo Central, another Japanese supermarket. That's the one Yumiko prefers to shop at. Got all of our Japanese shopping done, and then came home. I really didn't have much opportunity to use my good life objectives or principles. It was just a routine day. Although I did find myself, kind of just in that kind of a meditative state during points of the day. It's a very good feeling, when life just kind of grooves. I like that. Okay, let's do the 30 principles. These are: to always be at war with the things that I think are true, and to use reason as that instrument. To remember that I don't have a soul, but I do have a consciousness, and that it's alone, and it will die alone. And that good and evil don't exist out in the universe, they're just ideas in our heads. And that my purpose is to be a good family man and a virtuous man, trying to seek after the well-being of others, particularly thinking creatures, improving happiness, even. And then to remember that everything is made of little pieces, atoms and molecules, and they tend to fall apart. And so too, you and me. And also remember that I don't have a free will. Free will is an illusion. We can seemingly make any choice we want, but we could never have made any choice other than the one we actually did. And then to remember about maturity, that it's composed of the wisdom of past experience, coupled with the will to not repeat mistakes. And then to remember that we're social animals. We humans need one another. And to be very careful with my communication, to think about what I want to say before I say it, to very careful how I write, and to use words that are understood. Even though I may possess a good vocabulary, I'll be very careful with the use of that vocabulary. The main purpose of a good vocabulary is to be able to understand the reading that I do, so that I can flow with it, not to be showy or show off, and to never ever gossip. And also to be temperate in my living, controlling my consumption and of all things, including my work, my play, food, drink, everything. I get a little lost when I do a fast. I lost my place. It's probably not in here. Because this is an old copy, and I changed it. There it is. Yeah, I added that new one. Oh, yeah, 2 new ones, which are, it's not in here. I remember now. The horror show. Life is terrible sometimes. And then the Feast of Offal, when we get upset and tell the whole world about it. And sometimes people tell us about it too. And I try not to engage in that. I mean, I can help, but I'm not going to lose control or consume the evidence of the lack of control of others. It's like poison. Then comes distraction. We live to distract ourselves from the great indifference, which is the emptiness behind everything that we don't want to see. Then comes the best seat in the house, to not want to be anyone else or be anywhere else or be doing anything else, but to be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. Then the path of wildness, which is a way into new life. Then the risk of avoiding risk, the deep level and surface level risks of life. Try to attend to both. Sin and damnation is, the sins in my life are falsity, credulity, hope, faith, superstition, dogma, authority, and gossip. The consequence of that is damnation in the here and now. I think I got the rest of the way. Don't need my crutch. Complete oblivion. No life after death. Just emptiness. The same deep emptiness that we knew before we were born. The great life adventure. One or more experiences that kind of becomes the centerpiece of our life. The season of philosophy. A time to record what we've learned along the way. To hear the muse and write down what the muse is telling us. The bullseye aim, striving for the mark and usually missing. The uphill climb, life is a trudge. Arena and utility, life is also like a gladiatorial arena where we have our principles that we can use as weapons and tools along the way to survive. Excuse me. I want to say win, but win isn't the purpose. Win isn't what I'm after. To do well is better. And then nothing is enough. A reminder that less is sometimes just fine. And then finally, the principle of fun. A reminder to enjoy life and have a good time. Okay, I did that. Kind of a begrudging. Last couple of days have been kind of begrudgingly doing my good life. It's like this. I've been doing it now for so long, since 2018, every day. And there's sometimes you get days that you just don't want to do it, or whole weeks at a time you just don't want to do it, and then it kind of comes back. I'm kind of in that a little bit right now. It will pass. Okay, let's talk about the day. Oh, pardon me. I don't have too many meetings today, and I got so much done on Friday. But today I'm going to work on that contract. I am going to try to finish that contract review. I'm up to about 80% now. And I'm going to add a section to the governance document that I created. I need to begin to have a section where I can enlist the actual, for lack of a better term, bylaws of, maybe that's what I'll call it. Sounds important. The bylaws, the governance bylaws. Look at me. The man thinks himself a barrister. And then I've got some planning to do, some important communications to send out. I forgot to do the damn status report last Friday. Gosh darn it. I'll do it today. Now, I just feel this wave of anxiety just suddenly. I worked so hard on all the other stuff, I forgot to think. The Fridays that I work, or I get every other Friday off, the Fridays that I work, I call them Status Fridays. And I send out my status reports for my projects. And I just plumb forgot to do it. In fact, not only did I forget to do it, I didn't have any meetings. Someone actually did contact me to ask about creating status reports. And I showed her how to do it. And then I forgot to do my own. It's okay, I'll do it this morning. Makes me want to whip the microphone off and just fire up the computer and get at it. But calm and steady, Kurt. Good. Why did my mind find that instead of making up some debt in Japan? Why didn't it find the fact that I actually forgot an important thing to do on Friday? Idiot. No, I mean that in the most genuine, sincere manner. As I'm getting older, I'm finding my brain is faltering. I don't, no. People are always, it's interesting how I say that. And people, if I say it to people in genuinely who in front of me, everybody except my wife, they'll be, no, you're fine. No, I'm not fine. I'm almost 58, and mind is starting to falter. And I know that this is a thing, and it's okay. It's one of the reasons why we retire. Just stop so we don't have to do this stuff anymore that pushes us to the areas that we can't, our competency is no longer there. And that's okay. And it will lead to further decrepitude and, maybe pain and disability. And, this is the autumn of life, and the winter of life isn't far behind. And it's not going to be pretty. It might be fun, but in some ways it'll be fun not to work. But it's heading into a period that it's going to be rough too. Is life ever not rough? I mean, it has its moments. So anyway, that's what I'll do today. I'll contract review. No, in this order: status report, contract review, begin the contract review, and I'll do the contract review throughout the day, and then I'll do the correspondence that I need to do as soon as I get the feedback that I need to get from the people that I need to talk to. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and I'm training today. Duh. Yeah, I'm doing another class today. I need to review for that. So I'll do that, and then I'll do the contract in the afternoon. I know how that's going to go. Because I'm gonna burn myself out by lunch. Anyway, enough of this vacillation. I'm just talking about work. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe.